Times have been tough, no doubt about it. Tough on all of us. But you know what? So be it. The Workers Club. I love the name.
All right. It's the Workers Club. I'm Wilson.
I'm Larry.
That's Larry. And we decided to do a little wrestling book club. Not even a wrestling book club, just a book club where maybe that's the starting off point, something tangentially related.
Something so like I can that. Introduce a pinch-on book at some point?
I would love that. I would love that.
Gravity's Rainbow someday.
Oh, God. In the book I picked...
what's with this fucking book, man?
I did. I picked this one. Well, I've read wrestling books throughout my life, and I just was like, they're all kind of the same to me, or at least to me, they come... Boy, I love that dog. I just wanted something that was not... It was off the beaten path, that... I did find some fiction books that might be a future pick, where somebody wrote like a little murder mystery in the world of pro wrestling or something like that. But I found this guy, and it's clearly, I assume, maybe possibly self-published. I don't know. He's not. I found him. He's part of some publishing company, a little offshoot.
Okay, yeah, I'm looking at it. I publish.
Yeah, the thing then I published
that sounds like something you're paying for.
Yeah. I saw that, but then he's listed under this Hatchet Group. That's like a small print operation. So I don't know if that happened later, because this book was made in 2000 or published in 2000, and so I just was. And he kept writing. I have a whole thing here on this guy. So anyway, I picked this book because. And I talked to you about this, the description of the book. And then as I dug deeper into this author, it was tough to tell is he trying to do an avatar it's him, it's him,
that's how
quote
it reads,
unquote.
Yeah.
And this book is not, though, but it is. It's not the same. It's a different person from his other books that he's also written, which we'll get into here in a minute. But I just thought, man, this could be very boring, or it could be bad, which I was kind of hoping for.
Well, but to spoil it, it was not bad boring. I'm into it for the rest of the story.
I think it's starting to pick up. We read chapters 1 through 3. I read the first 100. Okay, yeah, and you read the first 100. Let me see if I'm in there, because I did read chapter. Okay, so I read chapter 4 as well, so we're good. Okay. We'll just go through that 1 through 4. So it was written by a guy, Ben Peller, and a lot of his books have this, where it's him in some state of undress.
Okay.
And
so he claims you have bio information on him. Right?
I do. I have his Goodreads. I have his Amazon. He was very active in trying to, and I'll talk about him more, trying to get like his book out, trying to get his name out.
Everybody who writes a book?
Yeah, he is. He's hustling.
Yeah.
His Goodreads blog that only had the one post in 2012. So this is, his first book was this Living the Gimmick. That's the title. I'm sorry.
So this is the first of his bibliography.
Yeah. And Should I give the description of the book that he wrote before I get
Yeah,
into him?
absolutely.
Okay. This is the back of the book here. From the time he was able to body slam a pillow, Michael dreamed of becoming a professional wrestler, vanquishing imaginary enemies and nagging self-doubt with every drop kick he landed. As his buddies hit the books, Michael got hit. When they left for college, he enrolled in Shane Stratford's Wrestling Academy, where cash and a particularly punishing audition afforded him a first look into a world part circus, part sport, and all spectacle. From penny ante matches to national notoriety, Michael rises through the ranks of professional wrestling. Hopped up on speed, pumped up on steroids, and fueled by a frustration he can't quite name, he adopts and discards identities in a bid to find the gimmick that will make him complete. His search will bring him in contact with people weird and wonderful, athletes and actors, crazy fans and crooked managers, the full rich range of folks who revel in the ring, combining elements of sports narrative a la North Dallas 40, the behind-the-scenes authenticity of pumping iron, and a flair for the bizarre that recalls John Irving. Living the Gimmick is a novel not soon forgotten. And so that all caught me. And then as I looked into him, this guy was throwing out names, and I was like, this book is going to be either just dog shit or...
What do you mean throwing out names?
Okay, so this brings me to his blog and his other like descriptions of
Like name
what
dropping?
he considers, of what his influences, of what he considers his writing is like.
Oh, wonderful.
So, in 2012, he wrote, "Thanks for checking out my blog. Life is good, and I love sites like this that encourage an art as wondrous as literature. Life in Los Angeles can be hard to navigate, but I found it to be a lot deeper than I thought it might have been when I arrived as a wide-eyed kid from Chicago. We live in strange times indeed, but with a book in one hand and a libation, parentheses, be it a cocktail or a loved one or anything that gets our motor running, parentheses, in the other, hopefully we'll be just fine. Enjoy this present moment, ride the winds of fate, and I would love to hear from other readers and writers. Let's keep this party going. Cheers, Ben. P.S. I don't always go shirtless in the streets, only on special occasions, smiley face," which I think is him referencing to him. All his book covers generally have him in some shirts coming off or shirt is off. His Amazon bio read, "Greetings all, thanks for checking out my page. Writing has always been a powerful motivator in my life. I believe words can be used as weapons against intolerance, against ignorance, and can defeat even the most blatant injustices. Living the Gimmick, To Live and Drink in LA, To Live and Love in LA, and the finale of the To Live trilogy, To Live and Die in Fantasy, capital letters L and A, Land, are of course works of fiction. However, historically, fiction and reality have a way of dancing with one another to create a whirlwind of experience, which in retrospect doesn't always come out in black and white. My books are definitely colored with biographical aspects. I was a professional wrestler for several years. I was young, and it was back in the day when WWE was known as the World Wrestling Federation. I spent much of my time in WWF staring up at the arena lights while being pinned, but I had a blast and also toured with the Southwest Independent Circuit, where I collected some wild stories. So Living the Gimmick, though technically fiction, will contain some recognizable characters. Purely coincidental, of course. I did grow up in Chicago, and I've never known my real father. I fled the Midwest winters immediately after graduating high school and came out to Los Angeles, where I lived in an inn by the sea. Bizarre Hollywood nights followed, along with crazy days wandering the beach, but I was always writing and wrestling. And that's the time I encountered Sean. Parentheses, no, it's not the famous one that was WWE champion for years. Parentheses. This was a whole different person. After many injuries, both physical and mental, I decided to make writing my full-time occupation. To Live and Drink in LA chronicles many of these years, and fiction and reality waltz within its tales. Hope you enjoy the words and enjoy the present moment. It's the only one we know for sure we're going to have. To live and love in LA is another step in Sean's growth. This is where, okay, I'll get into it. And to live and die in Fantasyland, LA land, rounds out the trilogy. I came out to LA to become the World Wrestling Federation champion and instead seized the World Wrestling Federation Championship, thus making this, as the Lizard King himself put it, the strangest life I've ever known. In the meantime, and then he goes on to how to contact him.
What is he talking about?
In what regard?
He didn't become the champion.
No, he wanted to become the World Wrestling Federation. Instead, he sees the World Writing Federation Championship.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
okay.
I might have not pronounced that very well. So here's my issue. So he has this series of books that's about him. He kind of alluded, it's me, but then he says it's actually Shawn, and he calls him Shawn in the books. They're Shawn Michaels, but there's no E in Michaels. It's Michaels. Okay. And then he says in those that Shawn is actually somebody he met. So it's like, is it you? Is it him? It could be a combination. So then looking into this book, I was like, okay, it's going to be about Shawn. But it's not. It's about a different guy named Michael.
But is the trio about Shawn?
The trilogy, okay. The To Live trilogy.
He hadn't worked it out yet.
Yeah, so it must, in this book he's going, and then he went, oh, dang, okay. Yeah, because in this book it's Michael, which again I'm reading, as I was reading, I'm going, okay, what's him, what's not, looking at years when he was born, which I can tell you when he was born.
Yeah. So
he wrote 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's written about like 6 books. Let's see, Living the Gimmick.
Dead, correct?
He is dead. I'm going to give you his bibliography here, and then I'm going to read into his
demise.
His demise, which I could not find how, but I think it was sudden. So he writes Living the Gimmick in 2000, and then it's years into 2011. He publishes To Live and Drink in LA. Then he also has an excerpt that he puts out with a separate cover called Strange Love, How Pro Wrestling Taught Me to Relax and Love My Mom, an excerpt from To Live and Drink in LA. Then he has To Live and Love in LA. And then he wrote How to Trap a Cougar versus How to Trap a Cub, which is a book about how to get an older woman or younger woman. I guess, and then in that cover, he's
a pickup artist too.
Yeah, he has like the safari outfit on, like the hat, and then he's got like, and he's like, and he's the OG MILF hunter, perhaps.
Okay.
Oh, Larry doesn't know that reference. Okay, all right.
What? Yes, I do.
Oh, okay.
I agree.
Okay, yeah, I should have sent you some of these pictures so you'd be like very accurate. And then his last book he wrote with somebody, and it was called 101 Ways to Get into Heaven, a Practical Guide.
I'm just looking up on Facebook. I didn't think it was him. Okay.
Yeah, he has a Facebook, and they have a memorial Facebook.
Right, that's what I'm looking at, 2015. So he died a while ago. So he cranked out these books quick, huh?
Yeah, he died August 18th, 2014. Yeah, and then all of a sudden, in 2011, he starts just going off. He's just, it's 2011, 2012, 2013. He was born in 1972. He died in 2014. He's 42. Says here, born in Northern California, raised in Illinois, and then returned to California to attend California State University in Northridge. Ben graduated in 1997 with a Bachelor of Arts degree in radio, television, film. Since that time, Ben has lived in Santa Monica in the West LA area of California. Ben was loving and carried his heart on his sleeve. His intellect and spirit, reflected in his many successful writings as an author, is an inspiration to all. A persona of enthusiasm, his positive and mental attitude engulfed a personality of exuberant joy. Ben was a man of character and vigorous lifestyle that surpassed all of those that were part of his entourage. A former pro wrestler, author of renown, and dedicated to causes involving the less fortunate, Ben was truly one of a kind. He set a standard for all, will not only be missed, but he will leave a loving scar on all our hearts. And then it says who he survived by, which is just some uncles, I guess. And then they go into other stuff. But a lot of it, so I'm just diving into this guy. And look, hey, credit to him. We're talking about him. This is years upon years later. And we're going to memorialize him by talking about his book, which when you put out a piece of art, you leave yourself open to comments.
Absolutely.
Critiques. But there is stuff that I liked in the book. And he definitely looked at his Facebook.
I'm sorry. Did you watch his short film?
No, I did not watch his short film.
Blood on the Page?
No, I did not watch Blood on the Page.
Looks like community theater.
I will. Yeah, I'm going to make a note.
Got other
parts. I will watch it after this. So I'm looking through his stuff, and he does on a lot of his posts and things of that. He leans in on drinking. He definitely, in one of those To Live books, he says that. Let me see if I can find it. He says, if David Sedaris, Chelsea Handler, and Charles Bukowski had ever consummated a threesome, the result would mostly be Sean, my cows, the protagonist. And I was just like, God dang, that is... What I'll go through. I mean, I put it down here at the end of my notes. I put like let's see if we've got Bukowski, we've got John Irving, we've got David Sedaris. I mean, he's got some heavy hitters that he's reaching for, and a lot of his posts are about him like going to a bar, just trying to sell his books, getting drunk. Oh, I got drunk again. But they're kind of told through that lens of somebody who kind of grew up in the 90s and what have you.
Sure.
They're not too salacious. It's like I started drinking soda, watching Degrassi DVDs, and then I decided to go to the bar and have some fun.
Okay.
So I did look at, they had some reviews for some of these books. And I'm going to read you some high reviews, and I'm going to read you some low reviews of this book. And we'll get going here. I have some last posts of his on his personal Facebook.
Excellent.
So let's go here. Can't buy my reviews. Username 5 out of 5 stars. Posted on the day he died. Reviewed on August 18th, 2014. R.I.P. Ben. Say hello to your mom for me. Okay. Then Mrs. Leibowitz reviewed it 2012. This book. 4 out of 5, says Mrs. Leibowitz. Underneath the gimmick beats a real heart. I have read other works by Peller, which, although I enjoyed very much and found to be very revealing, I often found them to be angry and full of revenge. Sometimes bearing heart and truth, but more than not only scratching the surface of any real emotion. This novel I found to be all heart, from the point of view of an innocent young man, not quite tainted by all the pain he has yet to experience. There are moments when he has me in a wrestler's hold, and then he lets me go to wander on my own. Peller has shown courage in pursuing his dreams, not once but twice, first as a pro wrestler, and then now as a writer. No matter what else he does with his life, or who else he becomes, if he succeeds or he fails, he will always get a wink and a smile from me for having the guts to at least try. Cheers, and lots of love to you, my dark knight with the dark soul.
I was going to say that's a family friend. Mrs. Leibowitz is a family friend.
As I went through a lot of these, they were predominantly women, and it was always like, okay. And then you go to their page, and they're only reviewing on the Goodreads, they're only reviewing his books. And it's like, all right. Which is then like, why aren't they giving you 5 out of 5? They're giving you 4.
It's more believable.
I guess so. About the Mrs. Leibowitz thing, they didn't understand that she's saying, I've read all the other books and they're all angry. This one has emotion. This is his first book.
That's true.
So he just got bitter and angry as he went along. I don't know. I'm curious to read his other ones. So then I had William N. Gary. He does have 5 stars for Living the Gimmick. And this is not a verified purchase either. So I can't tell you. But in 2010, he wrote, in October 2010, I'm a guy who works 3 And he spelled it out, and then he put parentheses, numeral 3. Jobs, 80 hours a week. And previously could only afford time for sleep and various other necessities. I'm just reading this. I was introduced to the auteur, missing an H, by a friend and was given a copy to read. It sat on my desk for a few days, and then finally one Sunday, I decided to just scan its contents. To my surprise, I began reading, and before I knew it, I was halfway through the book. The next day, I carried the book with me to work and read it during my lunch break, and once home, I completed it in its entirety. What a wonderfully well-written and interesting book. I highly recommend it. But beware, once you read the first few pages, you're hooked. So, I did look into William N. Gary's other reviews, and one in 2006 caught my eye. It's 5 out of 5 stars. It's the item's not. I couldn't find it's no longer available. It just his title says "Wonderful Cereal Dispenser." This is an amazing product, and it saves time on opening and closing a cereal box. All you have to do is turn the handle, and cereal is dispensed. And I was just like, wow, this guy. Yeah. I wanted this guy who's like, he's all about time with the job. He's like, I got 3 jobs, 80 hours, man. I barely have time for anything. So then, of course, he's looking to, how do I get to my cereal faster?
Yeah.
So I have a couple more here. I have the one really bad one. I have one star, but one that caught my eye that kind of spoke to the women kind of posting. This woman wrote in 2008, Carissa, she has a picture up too. She wrote in March 2008, I met this guy in Los Angeles last week, and he told me if I read his book, he would drive to Petaluma, autograph the book for me, and then do me. Ha! Wow. I told him he's a big whore, but the book looked interesting, so I'm going to read it anyways.
Well, that's what I was going to say is, I bet a lot of these guys, especially body guys, get into the gigolo circuit.
I mean, right? He had a lot of, it was a lot of women reviewing, and I feel like, I mean, I do think he liked to imbibe and have a good time, from what I can tell. And I think, I mean, that's what I kind of find fascinating about him. You know, everybody can be like an angry young man or whatever. I'm a Bukowski or this and that. And yeah. He put pen to paper. He put his little butt in his seat and wrote these books. So I have to give him credit for that. Yeah. And you know, he was doing something, and from what I can tell, he was missed. So here's the 1-star review. Okay. The Truth. That's his user. All fake. This guy never got into any ring. This is 20. Okay. The whole book is fake. He was never a professional wrestler. He talks about the early 90s and 80s, but he was a kid. This book should be called Living a Lie. Try to find any information about professional wrestling involving this guy. You can. The other good reviews are fake, like this book. So, well, I think I did find him
right about that. The time, what was he born? 72.
Yeah, he's born in 72. So no, he was a young man in the 90s.
Yeah, that's what I aged him as, just reading the book.
Yeah, I think he came up through the early 90s, which I was like, oh shit, this guy might be fascinating if he came up during that era.
But see, what's funny is I know a guy just like this. Who's got his hands in everything. He writes comic books, and he claims to be a former pro wrestler. Mm-hmm. He is not.
I think this guy has definitely blown up what he did, especially when I was thinking about this a lot while I was reading it. This came out in 2000. This is like during that last boom.
2000.
You know, the year 2000. So like for him to be like,
okay,
yeah, this came out in 2000. So that too, I thought. Like, so he's releasing it because there's a boom, and he's like, oh, I got wrestling. Yeah. I can crank this out. Which is probably why there's such a gap of like, well, the wrestling thing is spent. Now what am I going to write?
Right.
But he, when I was reading it, I was like, you know, if I came across this book in 2000, I probably would have liked it. I probably would have been like, you know, in 2000 I'm 17. or
Yeah.
16. You know, I'm going. Yeah, I'm like not that not as well read as I would consider myself now.
No, I
So
mean, I snatched up all those early wrestling biographies.
yeah, I already had a lot of those wrestling. You know, I was in it, and then to see this guy who then is presenting himself. I don't know how he would have back then, but then to present himself like, well, this is, you know, I would probably just taken most of this as just gospel and been like, man, he lived this.
Sure.
Yeah, I think this guy's a little bit. Yeah, so he's born in 70. What did you say, 74 or
72.
76? He's let me pull up my old dot. Yeah, he was born. So he's what, 18 in 1990 then?
Yeah.
I can't find his birth date again on this thing, but so okay, the truth. So he calls it fake. No, I think I found him. I know. Yeah, I think he's blown up his career a bit, for
Okay.
sure. I think he spent. I think he was a guy that probably liked wrestling. Did like he came out, he stuck with it, and then I don't know. Yeah, he just kind of probably. Okay, well here I'll get into it. Okay, I found this wrestler named. They say his name is Ben Stiller. The picture is blurry. See if I can send you this picture. You can tell me. I'm gonna send it to you in the Discord there.
All right.
I'm gonna see if you think that's him. I think that's him.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Okay.
And the name?
The name is Davy Starr, spelled with 2 R's, and
I can see that.
and he had 4 matches. That's what's listed. He has 4 matches. He was in a '93 Wrestling Challenge taping, which would have been about 3 years after. If he says this is about the same, where he left Illinois to go to wrestling school, and he was 18. So then that's in '93. He's probably 20, early 20s, something like that. So it was a Wrestling Challenge taping in January of '93, and it was him and another guy, Brian West, and the Nasty Boys beat them. They're job guys.
Sure.
And then in February he did another taping, and that was him and another guy, Gary Key, who losing to the 252 and Samu. But the Head Shrinkers, is that what they were called in then? I always, for some reason, think that they were not called the Head Shrinkers. Were they called something else, though, at the time?
That's what I thought they came in. What was the time?
Well, 93.
No, they were Head Shrinkers by then.
They were Head Shrinkers. Okay.
Yeah, because they were at Survivor Series '92.
I always think of the Wild Samoa. Sometimes I think they would say Wild Samoa, and then I would blend the teams. The team names, and you have the SWAT team, and I'm always like, it's so many of them, I get confused. So then, he doesn't have another listing here until '96, and he's on a Superstars taping, and he's again tagging with a guy named Tim Patterson, and they lose to the Bushwhackers.
Jesus.
And then on that same taping, he loses to, in the singles, they run him back out, and he loses to Bradshaw.
Okay.
Who was, at that time, Justin Bradshaw.
Justin Hawk Bradshaw.
Yeah. Looking into the Gary Key guy, had a good, he wrestled into 2000, I think. Brian West, I think, had the best one. Gary Key wrestled until 2009, XPW guy, as Tool.
These are the guys he tagged with?
Yeah. And then the Tim Patterson guy was just, a jobber, just a regular. He worked from 1986 all the way to 2000.
Wow.
I mean, as just jobbing out. Hunter Hearst Helmsley, Bradshaw, Ahmed, he's Bulldog, Bret Hart, Jannetty, Steamboat, Orndorff. He's a professional. He's jobbing. Yeah. He's working with everybody. And then Brian West was the other guy, and he wrestled into 2008. He all of a sudden he's on an NWA card in 2008. But he went by. Looks like he went by David Starr, Davey Starr, and Dave Starr. Not the name he has up in here, but there you go. Okay, I'll just do these. I was gonna read. The Truth did have another good thing that he liked that wasn't this book, but it was a metal dolphin with coral wall decor, indoor art sculpture, hanging glass decoration for home or garden.
What is this?
The I wanted to, the guy that said, this book is fake. I hate
Oh,
everything. I
oh,
wanted to find
yes.
something he liked.
Yeah,
And
please.
it was the Hong Land metal dolphin with coral wall decor, indoor art sculpture, hanging glass decoration, colored blue for home or garden.
Is there a picture?
Yeah, let me see if I can actually find this thing. I'll find it for you. Real quick. Let's see. It would probably been in like things I looked at already. The thing that he liked, browsing history. Yep, there it is. Okay. Can I copy this image? I'll just send you the whole link. I'm sending in the same thing, and so Gus gonna be confused about why I'm sending this Amazon link.
Oh, that's not what I expected.
And this guy, here's his review of that. 5 out of 5 stars. Great purchase. September 2021.
Okay, good.
This is his whole review. Good quality, affordable price.
I love it.
Which that price? $14.29 at the time that I put that in there. So finally, before we get into this, okay.
Yeah.
Ben Peller was from Wilmette, Illinois. So he listed. He went to New Trier High School. He worked at pro wrestling. He considered himself self-employed. Went to California State University, Northridge. So one of his posts was,
Where's he posting this again?
This is on his personal Facebook, which had a picture of him holding up. His last profile picture was he had like kind of goofy, kind of New Year's Eve type glasses on. Okay. And then he was holding up all his books. Like, yeah. And a lot of his pictures are like name tag, brilliant author, but I can't tell if it's an E or an A. And if it's an E, is that on purpose? Is that supposed to be? I couldn't, that's with him. I'm always reading his stuff, and it's that fine line where I'm like, I think he's going the whole vibe through the whole book, and even looking at he's going for something. He's trying to present something. He's just kind of like almost, or it just seems hard. He's like he's trying. He's like, I'm curious when he was writing this if it was like work, if it was, or he just like I don't care.
Sure.
So it says
there's probably an interesting story in a guy being kind of a gonzo journalist breaking into wrestling.
Yeah.
Kind of like the Louis Theroux thing, but like way more hardcore. Like really getting into it.
I was like, look, I think there's some stuff that is specific in here where I'm like, okay, that happened to him. Like this is him. This is anecdotal. I cannot wait to hear about people. I mispronounce words.
But I think that could be a better book on its own. Just that straight shit of working these little shows would be interesting to me to read.
I think, especially, yes. I mean, you could do. I mean, I don't want to. This. When I was reading this book, then I had Bukowski on the mind, and because he said, "Hey, look, I'm like Bukowski, man."
Sure.
Or my character in the I was thinking, and Bukowski's Hollywood. He writes that he told, or Hank Chinaski says, to the director of Barfly, that the guy's like, "Hey, you wrote something or other about me? That's not how that happened." And he was like, "Well, I'm the hero of my. I write how I." So I was reading this and going, "Is this? I mean, if this was him presenting himself, like this is what he's like. This is me."
Yeah.
So I was trying to look for that.
Okay.
So, but then, so here's a Facebook post he wrote. This is probably the year, and it wasn't too far, a couple back from his last one. Okay. He says, "Okay, am up and manic and a bit buzzed and have inhaled some perfectly legally prescribed MM. medical marijuana, I assume.
Hmm.
Now, I just made a call. Me, come on over and 3 asterisks, my 2 asterisks. Okay. Her, heavy sigh and some laughter. Isn't there anyone else you can call for this? Me, yeah, but he's doing 30 years in Joliet. He's fine. Her, another labored side. Okay, Del Taco or Taco Bell? Me, 6'5", pick 'em. Her, see you in 20 minutes. Me, not if I see you first. Life is officially awesome. Hope everyone's having a great summer and, ahem, a blatant plug, reading good books about to living. Those are a couple letters to be like, guys, the books I wrote. Cheers
Sure.
and love, Ben. So a lot of his stuff, he says he's manic a lot, and then he's presenting this, I'm manic, and then I drink, and then I find myself in goofy adventures.
Yeah.
So that was a disappointment as I was reading the book. I was like, no, goofy adventures yet. But
Yeah.
so then his last post. R.I.P. to Robin Williams. Thanks for the years of laughter, of generous sharing in the manner that humor may thrust upon us. Whatever demons you may have struggled with, you will not be judged by me. Only blessed for sharing your wild and wandering spirit. Bless you, Robin. And I look forward to catching up with you. Cheers and love. And that was days. Like, it was August 12th, I think.
Think it took him that hard?
I don't. So one of the replies was, "Hey, you are hanging out with them. Say hi." Like,
Oh, wow.
like, whoa, we miss you. I hope you're having fun up there with Robin.
Jesus.
So I don't. When he says, "Look forward to catching up with you," is that him being like, I could not find an obituary. I couldn't find anybody saying like, I can't.
I'm pretty good at. I'll do it for next week. I'm pretty good at searching the coroner's pages.
Okay. I mean, I looked in Illinois and California. I was like, there's got to be some, outside of Facebook, some mention.
Yeah.